Forbes had released, and I didn't know they did this, but they had released like, you know, what people make or blah, 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 whatever, and I was on that. Not a great time.
You didn't know this was coming.
Just talking about, I didn't. I didn't.
By the way, they just make the number up.
They make the number up? I'm sorry. Is this a camera? Is this? They make that up, man.
It's the shop. It's not even close. It's 2-year-old. He's just getting like all the new shit, full sentences he can say. Just now let him use an iPad. So the iPad is actually...
Different opinions about the iPad.
At home, he doesn't get it, but when we travel,
yes,
it's impossible to get on a plane with a 2-year-old without some other phone.
I got a 1.5-year-old son, and he right now, no iPad. And them flights, it don't matter if it's 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Terrorists, dog.
Terrorists.
He fell asleep on the plane floor the other day when we went flying.
You just started crying tears of relief.
Yes.
When we get on the plane, I apologize to the people in advance. Like, listen, I'm telling you guys, there's gonna be some point in this flight where I'm gonna let go of the rope a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's only so much like, sit down, stop. And then I'm like, guys, I really want to apologize in advance, but for like an hour or so, at some point, I'm just gonna be like, he's gonna run around. I gotta let the air out. My 7-year-old, not the heartbreak is, when he was like 3, I was in the gym and his mom comes downstairs and says, we have a big issue. But she's kind of laughing, like, not laughing, but has a smirk.
I already know where this
like
is
a
going.
kind of a smirk.
Yeah.
I said, just,
I know.
It's a big issue.
Right. Let's hear it.
I'm like, what's the issue? She goes, we have a house plant like this in the living room. Your son decided to take a in the plant.
That's a go-to, man.
I knew it had something to do with shit. I didn't know what, but I knew it had something to do with that. Yes.
So I was like, what are you doing? And his response was, I thought it would make everyone laugh. The reason I told him I was upset, and I explained it to him, was there's a fine line of making people laugh and being the clown.
Yes.
And I was like, what you did, you crossed the line. You are now the clown. So people are laughing at you, not with you. So how do you dance that line of like making people laugh, but with you, at you? How do you think about that?
To get people to rather laugh with you, and to make sure you're not the clown or the butt of the joke, you need to have a bit of a hyper awareness and also understand like, am I gonna like this? Because that's always kind of a great reference point before.
Like you were a baseball player, obviously. You're not naturally a comedian. Did you study that or learn that on the job, like through experience?
A mixture of both. My brother and I, we only had 1 VHS and 2 movies. We had no cable. We had Rush Hour 2 and Guess Who with Bernie Mac. So I watched that every day for 2 years. That's all I watched. My uncle is the funniest person I've ever met in my life. So he introduced us to stand-up comedy. So growing up, we watched both movies and stand-up. And the thing is, like, none of you reach these levels unless there is a bit of obsession.
Sure. It's a good thing. Obsession is a good thing.
It can be a good thing, especially in regards to sports, in regards to entertainment in any way, right? There needs to be obsession. And for myself, I needed to point that somewhere. So it was baseball. Baseball was a big thing for me. I started playing at 16. I didn't know what a baseball, I didn't pick up a baseball, I never watched.
That's really late.
It's incredible.
That's super late.
And here's the thing, we're raised to listen to our elders, right?
Of course.
We have every single one of your elders, people you look up to, coaches, parents, everybody tell you, you're not gonna make it, so stop. You have to literally retrain yourself to not listen to anyone.
Of course.
Which is hard to do.
That's a good point. You just shut that off.
You have to shut that off.
That's hard,
That's a process. So within that, I had to then just shut out basically everybody, and just go on this thing. I was 180 pounds soaking wet. I was a twig. I couldn't do anything in the baseball space. I had to go from 180 pounds to 235 pounds in half a year. Wow. They had tested me for steroids because the jump was so big, but it was only because my routine was this. No friends, no relationships, none of that. It was, I wake up, I make 12 hours of sleep, 2 gallons of water, three meals of food. It was grilled chicken, brown rice, broccoli, and you work out 3 times a day. Anabolic, and then you do stretches, you do fast twitch muscles, and I would just do that every single day. There was no excuse. So around 2020, the draft was happening. There were some teams interested. So when we had those conversations, you feel proud. You're right there. You're so close. And that's when COVID happened. That's when the minor league system got funky. That's when my grandma had these health issues. And then at that point, everything got derailed.
You talked a little bit about obsessiveness and how that helped you in baseball. Did that obsessiveness transfer over to content creation?
1,000%. But it took time. It didn't happen immediately. I started doing content. I was very, very passive. It was cool. It was fun. And I didn't learn it until I was in a car with somebody. I was like, and we were driving. And they told me, they basically were just really real with me. They said, you're being lazy. You're being lazy. Because at the time I had, maybe 2 million followers. And I was like, oh, that's whatever. I post maybe once a week. I didn't really care much. And they said, you're being lazy. And anybody else in this world would kill to have what you have. I would kill to have what you have. And you are taking it for granted. And honestly, you should rethink what you're doing. And I was furious when I first heard it. Because I'm like, you don't know what who are you? Feel me. Yeah. But here's the thing, later that night, I sat down and it really seeped in and I'm like, oh, they're right.
Yeah.
And that's the toughest thing as an athlete.
It was Barack Obama. And he's like, why would you speak that way to a sitting president, bro?
Hannah, when you had the opposite experience of him, right? Because your dad was your coach. So he was saying he had to tune people out. Was your dad constantly telling you were great, you were good, or was he hard on you like that too?
No. He was always telling me I wasn't good enough. Like, you need to get in the gym. Nah. Because before he would look at it from a coaching standpoint, like, not a father standpoint. And so it was always like, you need to be in the gym, you need to be outside. I mean, we have a half court in our backyard, so it was like, you have everything right here. We got a shooting gun, you got, rebounders, we have it all right here. Big family, you can play 2-on-2, 1-on-1, whatever. So there's no excuse. So it was always like, get in the gym, like do what you gotta do, put in the work because, people are gonna get better. So like that obsession that you're talking about is like, I was obsessed because I didn't want anybody to be better than me. And so it was always him like pushing me like, you gotta be great. And now he's looking at it from a parent standpoint.
Oh, so he backed off. That's not easy for a parent to do.
I was about to ask how that was being a father now, and I think about those times when my son becomes of age where I have to start, getting involved in his athletics. And I know how I am about my job and how I've been with my sport, right? And I didn't have that person pushing me when I was younger. I kind of had to kind of find out and figure it out on my own. But pushing my son and not wanting to cross over that line, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, all right, you're doing too much.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And then your son not hates you, but you know what I'm saying? Like, where there's that resentment.
He needs you to be a dad, not a coach. That's a fine line between being a dad and I'm sure turning it on and off for him. Like, on the court, he coached you, then when you were home, he had to be your dad.
Right, absolutely. And I think that's important, just like knowing your kid too, because my dad can do that with me and push me every day. And I'm okay, because I'm like, okay, I want to be great. But if he's pushing my brother like that, one of my brothers is like, man, I don't want to hear that. And now they're shutting down. So it's like, it's tough. It's tough because every child is different.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 5.
All hoopers?
My sister's the only non-hooper, but she married a basketball player too, so they travel, go overseas and stuff like that. So it just runs.
Hoopers in the family. And were the other ones good hoopers, great hoopers, or?
They were good enough. My youngest brother's 6'4", so like competing against him, and then my dad coached AAU boys, so they would come and we would just play 3-on-3, 5-on-5 and stuff like that, and just compete. And so it was good for me, being a female. I'm not gonna go out and see 6'4" guards most likely that's coming and dunking and stuff like that. And so like it was good competition for me to get great and being able to be prepared for the women that I'll be playing against.
And now, do you love that your dad's fallen back into being the father, or do you miss him as a coach? Now, do you wish he was still coaching?
He's still a coach in the sense that when he comes to my games, he's whistling at me and telling me, from the crowd. He has this whistle.
You play in front of big crowds now.
Big crowds.
And you still get excited.
Absolutely. I hear him because he has a distinct whistle. that loud whistle he does with his hands. So it's like, I know exactly where he's at every single time in a crowd full of thousands of people, and he's always telling me, hold your follow through, or attack the basket, or jab. I always hear him out of everybody, and I feel like just
on
being
a percentage basis. This is a very important question. He's watching, but we need the truth. How much of his advice are you taking on a percentage basis now as who you are?
Yeah, you know,
Tell the truth, no. We just see the number.
Of course.
Anything less than 99.
Like, less than 99 for sure. Like, I don't know, maybe like, so I think it's just finding a balance. Like 50-50, like, okay, like if I'm in a slump, I'm like, all right, Dad, what do you see from an outside perspective? You know ball, like tell me what I need to do to fix it. And then if he's just getting too much, I'm like, all right, I don't hear you anymore. I'm gonna just listen to my coaches, my teammates, my thoughts and stuff.
That parent thing doesn't change. It's like I remember like many years ago when I played in high school, we had my senior year, we had a freshman that played up, and his dad was a complete maniac from the stands. And like yelling, and his name was J.R. Ferguson, if you're out there watching this. He gets in the game, and he airballs a free throw. So I'm a point guard, I go to give him dap. He's like, is my pops looking? And I go, yeah. I said, don't look up there. He's like, his pops was waiting by the bench, like during the next time out. Like it never got.
But your coach
physical,
has to nip that.
Yeah, 100%.
My coach's favorite line when I was in high school was, he used to tell us, the most important 5 minutes of game day is the 5 minutes you spend, the first 5 minutes after the game that you spend with your parents. That is the most, he used to always tell us, that is the most important minutes of the game. Because everybody's dad is going, you didn't play enough, you didn't shoot enough, you didn't get the ball
Your coach
enough.
ain't using you right.
When you get the ball, you're gonna drive. And our coach would say, don't listen to that shit. And our coach didn't allow parents that, we had a hardcore coach, he's a college coach, no parents at practice. Some high school parents would go to practice. No parents at practice. And if your kid played on our team and you were yelling from the crowd, get him out of here. Wow. You cannot do, because he didn't want, if he's coaching and then you're yelling and giving something opposite, he was hardcore about it. But it's a fine line for dads and parents and moms to be the coach and then fall back to just being mom or dad.
Right.
Is that a question for you as well? Because I was always curious about this. Obviously, I didn't really experience that part, but when your parents are at the games, when you feel your dad at the games, and then the difference between them there and them not there, do you feel more comfortable and confident with them there, or more pressure with them there? I'm curious.
Yeah, I feel more confident with them there for sure. It's just it's nice having like a friendly face, you know, in the crowds, because, you know, my people always have my back. So regardless if I do good, if I do bad, I know that they're always going to be in the stands cheering me on, especially if I'm in a slump. You know, I'm a big family person, so knowing that my family's there supporting me, watching me, means more than anything.
At some point when you stopped, or when you're like, okay, I'm going to pick from this, I'm going to leave the rest of this out, did that come with your talent? Like you realize, okay, I'm talented enough, I can do this? Or did that come with you being like, in order to get to that point, I have to discern what I'm taking and what I'm not?
I think it's like a maturity thing. Like, it's knowing, especially knowing like my skill, knowing the talent that God has placed in me. It's like, okay, I know I can do this. Like, I know if I'm not holding my follow through, I know if I'm not playing defense hard enough. So like some things I know, and it's like, yeah, Dad, like you're saying that I already know I need to use my floater when I'm driving and things like that. It's just, I think it's just having confidence in myself and knowing I've done this hundreds of thousands of times, and just being able to just take that step back and just figuring out how to do it.
Is that similar with football? Is that like, because again, obviously basketball is a bit of a different beast. Like with football, did you accept like parental like advice, or when you're in the thick of it, like?
I was raised single mom. She didn't know anything about football, so if she did have something to say, it probably was going in one ear and out the other. Unfortunately for Mom, and I love my mom. She know that. And Mom, I know you're gonna be watching this, so. But yeah, I mean, early on, man, I feel like it was all about just having fun. You know, I wanted to be great from an early age, but early on, I wouldn't say I took it as serious as I probably needed to for a reason.
But what clicked for you?
That's a good question.
Do you remember when it was? Like, were you a great high school player?
Not really, and in my opinion.
Because I was reading, like you, somebody at church, you got your film, you got to be what you
exactly. Like my junior year, I didn't even start. You know what I'm saying? All my friends, my sophomore year, they got elevated to varsity. I had to stay back on JV. You know what I'm saying? Like that's always the story, though. You feel me? Like
but to your point, I would imagine 80% of NFL players play varsity as a sophomore. Like
exactly.
You don't make it to the NFL.
You see what I'm saying?
If you're not that late.
If they had a lineup back when I was in high school, and they had me and all the other people in my class, and they had to handpick which guy was going to make it to the NFL out of our group, it was not going to be me. You know what I'm saying? I would have had 0 votes, because I was just, at the time, I hadn't developed yet. You know what I'm saying? I had to hit my growth spurt. I had to get in that weight room, start pumping a little iron. You know what I'm saying?
And let me ask you, during this time, are you thinking, maybe I'm not as nice as I think I am?
Absolutely. I mean, but to be honest, back then, I didn't have a whole lot of confidence.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So like even earning a Division I scholarship, that was huge for me, my family. You know, we didn't grow up with a lot. So like my mom knowing that her son's gonna be able to go to college on a full ride scholarship. I know nowadays these kids get paid millions of dollars to go to school, but like back then it was like you get a full ride scholarship. That's a huge deal. First in my family to go play Division I. You know what I'm saying? So like regardless of what school it was that was offering me, that was a big deal at the time. But again, going back to like that confidence level, it wasn't where it needed to be yet to kind of stand up with those guys, the other top tier players, right? So I think it was when I got to the league.
At BYU, it didn't even click.
Wow.
At BYU, I was middle of the pack.
You were just playing.
I was just playing. I was middle of the pack. I had great coaches. I was around good players, but it still wasn't like I wasn't an All-American. You know what I'm saying? I was never in that discussion of being a first or second round draft pick. I elevated myself enough to become a third round draft pick, right? But then where did it all of a sudden like, you know, connect and like, okay, I got it. Slowly but surely, you know, I got my opportunity to be a starter in my first game as a rookie, and I made some plays. I finished that. My first game was against the Minnesota Vikings. I had 12 tackles, a forced fumble, pass deflection, and then I'm like, okay, like I can do this. You know what I'm saying?
Those are very good things for people who don't know.
Yeah. No, those, you know, I had a good game, and so I think from then on out, I was like, man, why can't I take this thing to the top? Like, what's stopping me? And it started with a vision. You know, I put it on a notepad. I said, I want to be the best in the world. Like, I want to be the best player in my position. And then what did I do after that? I made sure the work matched the vision. Humbly.
What year are you in now, by the way?
I'm going into 8.
And when did you feel like, oh shit, now I'm accomplished, I got it? Like, I feel...
When he became the highest paid linebacker in the National Football League. That'll do it too very quickly.
That doesn't hurt.
I love the point you made earlier when you were talking about putting the work in.
Yeah.
Because it's so much talk about hard work, but not enough talk about like the intangible things that happen. Things just kind of line up. You know, that hard work kind of makes opportunities present themselves.
Absolutely.
So when somebody asks you about your blueprint, if they come up to you and say, hey, how'd you get to the NFL? Some of it you can't even explain.
No, I was just about to say, like, there's no way in hell that I would ever be able to tell a kid, like, this is how you get to the NFL, because I'm lucky, like, at the end of the day. And it like, I believe in luck. I also believe in God and obviously everything happening for a reason and his journey being the right way, right? But I mean, a lot of things had to fall right into play. I had to be drafted to the 49ers. I promise you, I don't know where I'd be if I got drafted elsewhere.
Why?
Because I had D'Amico Ryans as my linebacker coach.
Is he as good as he looks? I mean, I never met him, but as a coach, when he's done with Houston, he looks like one of the great coaches in the NFL.
He won
is he
the
really
best.
that good?
He won. It go Kyle Shanahan and then D'Amico Ryans. All right, like I got to put my coach, of course, above him for right now. But you know, D'Amico, man, the thing that's so special about D'Amico is I see it all the time. Former players try to go and be coaches, and it just for some reason just doesn't work out like you think it would. Like ultra successful on the field, but for some reason can't connect with the players in a coaching setting because it's like almost like they expect the player to be like how they were when they were playing. You know what I'm saying? Or something just doesn't connect. Like the emotional intelligence maybe ain't there. But with him, the ability to teach the game, even after having played it at such a high level, it's like. It was uncommon.
And it seemed like everybody loved him. All the players loved him.
Everybody loves him, man, because he's just a genuine dude, man, and he's just a natural born leader of men. And so it's so easy to get behind somebody like that as a player. And I had to learn so much from him. He obviously had played the position at a high level in the NFL and was able to teach it to me, somebody who had never played stack off the ball linebacker, never given calls, but they saw something in me. They're like, no, we think he can do it. Like he got the smarts to be able to put people in position, know what he's doing, and still go make plays. So if I didn't have him, if I didn't have Robert Saleh, who believed in me, you know what I'm saying, from day one, and was like all them little draft meetings.
Wait, was Saleh the DC when you got there?
He was a DC, and then D'Amico was my linebacker coach.
Oh, so D'Amico wasn't the DC guy. Okay.
He started as the linebacker coach. My rookie year, we started at the same time, and then I think it was only 2 years after my third season was Robert Saleh's last season as a DC, and now he's back with us now, which is
We live in an era where everyone talks about like work-life balance and all of those.
That's a great point.
To be great.
So no such.
You gotta have that obsession. Like, have you started off like? Is balance a real thing? Like to be?
No, balance is impossible. I mean, like, I'm a lot older than the other guests on the panel, and so like I can't fathom. Yo, I was selling weed when I was 20. Are you kidding me? You got,
That's what I was gonna say.
like,
How the hell did you
has
end up
3 gold
acting?
medals. 28, I think I had just done Pitch Perfect, and we were like at the Angola prison rodeo giving C-Murder handshakes through the fence. And this dude's like, you know what I mean? He's flying to New York to be with the Wu-Tang Clan. So like, I started way later than most people. I think in my career, the obsession wasn't there. It was so like that cliche of, it was an accident. My mom was tired of me yelling and screaming in the house. So she made me sign up for the school play. And then I was like, okay at that. People seemed to like me doing that performance stuff. It was like easier than getting on the basketball team. And like, then New York University was like, you can come study with us. They seemed to like the fact that there was this sort of unique Indian, it was like 2 Indians in the whole class.
But you rapped then, right?
And then I was in hip hop as well, and I dove into the Nuyorican poetry club scene in New York. I was battling.
In the Lower East Side, Maverick Carter.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering.
Nuyorican. I knew. Was that like a Puerto Rican thing? Did he just drop a Puerto Rican thing on us?
But like, and then I would rap. I opened up for Public Enemy. I opened up for all these guys and was doing that. And it's like sports, where like if you battle and I'm better than you, I win. I get $100 and a bottle of vodka, and my boys and I can party. When you're 19, that's pinnacle. And then I got to what you would say is like the league, the industry, right? Still thinking like if you're good, you're gonna be fine. But nobody wanted a brown person on a billboard. That's just not what it was in the post 9/11 America. So you're trying for all these roles that I'm showing up like this for like the nerdy Indian kid who's never had sex on a TV show with Craig Robinson. And they're like, you've definitely you're not like, this isn't gonna work. So like, I had to like, and I had a big chip on my shoulder, and that discipline of being like extra prepared, having to be 2 or 3 times as better as your contemporaries. I didn't have it. I was super entitled. I was partying like crazy. I was just about like the social aspect of things, being very social. So for me, like, I had to change everything. Like, I had to get sober. I had to like really restructure my entire life. And then all the dreams started coming true. And with that comes a wife, 3 beautiful children who I don't really get to see. That's the problem.
Yep.
So like, I'm home just long enough for us to be like, hey, this isn't bad. And then I'm out. And the payoff is that we're on the #1 comedy in America, the #1 network show. We've been the #1 show for 5 years. Like, I get to work with amazing people. I get to like pretend I know how to speak French because we shoot in Montreal. I'm like, yeah, oui, let's go. But, you know, there's no such thing as balance. A friend of mine, I asked him, because he's like a much bigger star. I was like, how do you do it? And he said, you'll never do it right, but if the scale always tips slowly toward, like a little more towards family, you're gonna be okay. And like, for me, that's also like God. If I put God first, God, family, then work, we're okay. But I still miss like making out with my wife. You know what I mean? Like,
Who doesn't?
we like each other's butts. It's a shame not to be around them, you know?
What made you get sober? Because usually people
So like
hit the bottom, they bottom out. Did you bottom out? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, I scraped along the bottom. The bottom was like, I'm here, and I was like, I think I could go deeper. The bottom was like, no, bro, you are at bottom. I was like, nah, I think we can go do better than this. But I guess professionally where I bottomed out was, I'm good friends, like very close family friends with Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote Hamilton. He came to me in the midst of my like cuckoo crazy life and was like, I got something.
By the way, was it just alcohol or drugs too?
I would say I was like a yeah. We call it a dumpster drunk. If you throw it in, I'm gonna take it. Like every bone is connected to every other bone.
You got it.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's a skill. It's a strong skill. I'm like that. If it was caveman times, I'd be the one who's jumping on the back of the woolly mammoth, or like eating the mushrooms to see if it's poisonous. Yeah. But those skills no longer serve me in today's society. But Lynn called and was like, I got something. It's this character called Aaron Burr and this play I'm working on called Hamilton. And I wrote it for you. So you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, whatever, sure, it sounds fun. And then Lynn, we did a few readings of it, and I was like incapable of meeting that moment. Just because of what I was doing physically to my body.
Oh.
And like Chris Jackson, who's a close friend who played George Washington. Hamilton, by the way, is like the 49ers of Broadway musicals, all right? It's like a pretty big deal.
Yes.
Lin-Manuel
not
is
the
the
New York
LeBron
Giants.
James of Broadway. And so there was this huge Tony Award-winning opportunity and this colossal show that they ended up having to go in a different way because of my inability to meet the moment. And I'm not like a musical guy. I didn't do like tap dance training. So I got to work extra hard if I'm going to show up, and I couldn't show up for that moment. So that was one of those things where you're like, ooh, I missed that rocket ship. It took
But
off.
did you realize it immediately, or did you realize it later when Hamilton blew the up and you were sitting there going, oh my God, that should be me?
No,
But I was
immediately
too
what I
drunk.
did was I let my friends down. I let my best friends down. And they were like, we wanted you there, and because we love doing stuff together, as I can see right in front of me. You want to bring your boys with you. Just keep, no new friends. We're like this.
Yes.
So that was the initial letdown. And then when it blew up, by that time, I was already in this new life of getting sober. And like, when you're first getting sober, it's like, it's not even like, is Hamilton doing well? It's like, can I buy groceries?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm getting soup by myself. I'm crushing it. Like, oh, I got a valid driver's license. By the way, like, I'm on TV, I'm in movies, like, I got money, but like, I didn't have a valid driver's
That's
license.
the little like that when it's right, it's important.
I had 4 years of unpaid taxes. You know what I mean? Maybe more. And they were like, you don't pay taxes? I was like, why would you pay taxes? Isn't it optional? Like,
check was going a long way.
going to the courthouse and getting your registration, like getting all the black marks taken off of your name. So by the time like Hamilton happened, like we were both in a joyful, as a family, they were happy I was alive.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was happy to see my best friends exceed all expectations. And then I did a movie for Disney Plus with Tommy Kail, who directed Hamilton. So these things come full circle. I got healthy and everyone was like, oh, there you are. Like in Hook, where the boy holds Peter Pan's hand. Oh, there you are, Peter. That's what my friends were like, hey, man, you look good when you don't smell.
Well, and one would say, too, like, say you were able to meet that moment and then actually go to the Hamilton run of it all, that actually could have worked against you trying to do better for yourself. Again,
Oh, I'd
again,
be
like,
dead.
You know what I'm saying? That,
I'd be
again,
dead.
it's a wall. So, again, it feels very almost
Having
serendipitous.
that success and being a drunk would have been.
That's like
the
me when
party
I
is
see,
the
like-
celebration. Because it's a reason to celebrate. Like, I'm on this show.
Oh, heck yeah. When I see these young people, you guys are, and you're doing so well, you're at the top of your fields, it's like, it's incredible to me to think about how much effort and discipline and self-belief and self-care it takes to be in that space of success.
That's what I was gonna go with it. Like, Hannah, like for you, it's like I can't even imagine like being a top collegiate player, social media, NIL, like just like all those things. How have you been able to keep the main thing the main thing?
Yeah, I mean, me growing up in like a time where social media is so big. Well, first off, it's a blessing just to see how, athletes are finally getting the recognition.
Yes,
and,
ma'am.
for so many years, colleges have made money off of these athletes' names. And so now that we're able to make money off of our name, it's a blessing to be in this situation. But, it could also be a curse at times because it's like you always got to be on point. It's like a lot of fans don't understand, like, we're human too. Like you said, we're human, like we're going to have bad days, but it's like the cameras are always on you. So you got to make sure, you're always talking kind to people, which you should do anyway, but you're always smiling all the time, even if you're not happy. But, I keep God first in my life, and so it really helps keep me grounded. It helps keep me humble. And also I have a great support system. My family around me, they're always supporting me. I got my agents that, help with either NIL or like helping with social media posts and stuff like that. And so just having a healthy balance that, yes, I have to take care of my social media obligations, but also taking the time to step away from the social media and not making it, the center of my life, because it could really like bring you down.
This is what our show is all about. Real conversations with an amazing group of people. You could be at your local barbershop or your local Starbucks. It's all about the stories, the energy. So go get yourself a drink, order a coffee, tea, whatever you prefer. We've got a lot more to get to.
But let me maybe dispel a rumor for us. There's this narrative going around of like, obviously we know what the current WNBA pay scale situation is, and now with NIL.
Otherwise known as they're not paying them anything, yes.
I didn't want to say it, but yes.
I can say it.
And now you have NIL, right? How much of it is a consideration where it's like, you don't necessarily got to go leave now to get the bag?
So if I had the opportunity to leave early, I would stay because, you know, you make so much more.
Exactly.
You do make a lot more in the league. It's like, you know, there was this big thing that, you know, Caitlin, she didn't make a lot when, you know, her rookie contract, and it's like she's done so much for the game. How is she not making, you know, like all this money, which she was probably making so much more, you know, being in college, and it just is what it is. But, you know, the women's game is expanding. You know, we're getting teams in, you know, Detroit, Toronto, Philly, and stuff like that. So it's expanding. So it's a great time to be a female athlete right now.
Can you imagine the Niners want you? You're like, nah, I'm gonna do this BYU thing a little longer.
No. Like I said, that's what I was trying to say. It's different now with college. I'm like, you know, obviously the NIL, and I'm so grateful for the college athletes to be able to, you know, make a little bit of money, because I remember it was tough. Boy, you're trying to get that fast food check. It was just a little something to try to get by. But the goal was always to make it to the league to then be able to provide, right, for your family. And now these college athletes have a lot of responsibility on their hands of, man, I'm receiving all this money now to be able to provide, and it's like that's a lot of responsibility. So for a young person, and so you kind of have to grow up a little bit quicker to be able to.
But it can also go both ways, right? Because if you're not as motivated as she is, right? That used to be the carrot. I'm like, I got to get out of this situation. I got to get my family out of this situation. Now it's like, we living pretty good.
It's like, what's the incentive now to go to the NFL? If you're telling me like, no, I wanted to go to the NFL because of the money before, but now I'm making the money in college.
Exactly.
Why do I need to work as hard to try to make it to the NFL? It's like, no, I'm just going to stay 6 years. Exactly. Keep getting paid NIL money. You feel what I'm saying?
Like, I got a question, and maybe any of you guys can answer, because you talk so much about balance, and you mentioned balance as well. But like, is it like a balance that you're comfortable with, right? Because like your family is not saying, thank you for balance this month. Your job is not saying thank you for balancing this month. Not. So it's like, how do you?
There's always a loud voice that's like, you're not doing enough. This is this. There's a loud voice saying a bunch of fearful, negative shit for me. And then there's a quiet voice that's just like, nah, you're good. Like, you got this. Look at the evidence. Like what we were talking about with being the clown or being funny. There's a voice inside of me that goes, you're not feeling good about this. And I used to do it all the time. I used to play for the laugh. How can I just get these people to like me? And now it's like, no, there's an integrity, and the closer that I stay to my center, the more I attract what I want.
The double-edged sword is this. Your loved ones, your family, they're gonna wanna see you and hang out with you, and you can't do that because you're working. You're gonna get flack for that, but you're also gonna get flack if you're not working hard enough. So sadly, it's a double-edged sword, and you just gotta run right through it. You feel me?
Yeah, I think, first off, you're absolutely right. And I don't teach my kids the word fair. It's the word fair. My dad had an old saying, if you would say, that's not fair, he would say, son, the fair is a place they judge pigs. There's no such thing.
So good.
It's the truth. There's no, what are you talking about fair? There's no such thing as fair. We're black and brown in America, you know?
Yeah.
So you can't ever walk out of your house looking for fair. You lost. Correct. You're a loser if you walk out of your house any day going, I'm looking for this to be treated fair or to be fairly compensated for what I do or whatever. No, you have to go do it and get it and hope it works out for you, number one.
And for you personally, is it hard for you to explain to people who aren't in a position of like a person of color has to do? Is it hard to explain to them why we have to work 2-3 times as much to get just enough kind of feel?
It is, I was about to say, it is hard, but it's only hard if you keep trying to drill it to someone who's not willing to listen. And you have to be thoughtful and like, why am I trying to start there? Like, why am I trying to explain this to you, this person? Because what is it gonna get me or not? That's where I start at. Like, so I start with why am I trying to, if I try to explain it to someone, and if I can answer that question and it makes sense, then I'll try and lay it out. but not looking for pity or looking for them to make it fair for me. Just for them, I'm actually trying to help them to have some understanding as they go into the world. Not anything for my self. I've already established that I'm not looking for fair. I don't want fair. I understand that's a losing idea. That's a losing. You know, you go and walk on a football field on Sunday. You think the refs are going to call it fair, or the guy across from you is going to play fair? There's no chance. Right. No chance. The pulling, the guard does pulling and about to come at you. You think he's looking? Oh, let me be fair with Fred. No, he's gonna rip your head off, pull you down, grab your hair, anything.
Every game, dog. There's always something. You know what I'm saying? Where people are complaining about the refs, and I've never been that type of person to blame it on the refs. Because I'm like, my linebacker coach Johnny Holland, he's always said, "Be so good they can't ignore you." And if you're so good that they can't ignore it, then all that other stuff is irrelevant. All right, it has nothing to do about the refs. You have control of the situation, so take control.
So that's where I would start there. And the second thing on the balance thing, like what is balance? That's where you have to start first. To me, balance is I woke up today feeling really good. I'm balanced. I woke up, I do a cold plunge in the morning. I worked out, and I came here and I get to sit here with you guys. I'm at work, doing what I love. So balance actually starts with being selfish. Going to the gym or going to yoga or meditating for an hour, whatever it is that helps you feel good and balanced. You have to start with that in order to deliver for your family, whether it's a house or whether it's just loving them, both, because you have to deliver all of those things.
Yeah, being physically present is a premium because we work, we travel, we do all that, and how you are when you are present is the most important thing to them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Most important thing. And if you walk in, we've all walked in out of balance, and it could be because you're not. Some people walk, I always say, like my mom, I love my mom so much. And I always say, Mom, you're the most amazing person in the world to me. And there's hundreds of millions of people like her who did it because she got up every day at 7 o'clock in the morning and at 8 and went from 8 to 5 and did a job she didn't love. She didn't like it and came back home and was a loving mom. I would be a miserable prick if I had to go to work every day and do something that I didn't care about or love.
So it doesn't seem like sacrifice starts to be, that word ends up being more important?
Well, yes and no, because here's the thing, like, balance is something that you're trying to maintain for longevity. Sacrifice is something that you're giving up and knowing it's going to be gone. So you're sacrificing something that's not going to come back. Balancing is something you're trying to maintain.
Look at him. You gave him a little new beard.
But here's the thing.
I'm never recording this because I'm stealing that.
But here's the thing, right? Because he mentioned it perfectly, right? For example, he's right. My mom, as of right now, currently, I love my parents so much. So Forbes had released, and I didn't know they did this, but they had released what people make or blah, 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 whatever, and I was on that. Not a great time.
You didn't know this was coming?
But no, I didn't. By
the way, they just make the number up.
They make the number up?
He wasn't clear. Say it to the camera.
Is this a camera? They make that up, man.
Say it with your chest, man. You want to get it off your chest.
Do you want to know what's crazy? You want to know what's crazy? I'm like, bro, okay, here's the thing. It was less than a full calendar year. How'd I more than double the net worth? Anyway, here's the thing, right? They release it, and then the next morning, mind you, I'm in Europe at the time, and the time change is almost like it's the next day. So I'm waking up to my phone hot. My phone's on Do Not Disturb due to social media stuff, so only like 5 people can actually access your phone, right? But at that point, when your phone is ringing and those 5 people are, and you're like, okay, what's happening? And you see it and you're like, all right, man. Because at that point now, it's restructuring the entirety of your relationships with everybody.
Yeah.
With everybody.
It's a whole new relationship.
It's a whole new relationship, right?
Jordan, you didn't even do it or know it.
Yeah, I didn't. Jordan, hold that thought. I'm sorry. Let me ask you two specifically this. In work and what we do, it's taboo to talk about money, right? You don't ask so much how much they make, or you don't know your peers, any of those things.
Of course.
You're public,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And it may even be an inflated number at times in certain instances. We were just talking about this. Your family sees it and thinks you have it on you, like you have all of it. Forget taxes, forget bills, forget responsibilities. I saw what your guarantee is.
I unfortunately have to pay taxes, unlike him. You know what I'm saying? He kept the whole check.
Canada tax and U.S. tax.
Now he paid the taxes, but back before, that check would go a long way. You know what I'm saying? Like, but those.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the pressures of family, friends, new cousins, knowing exactly how much you make and the expectations around that?
That is probably the last final development within this transition of whatever this is because at that point, all of your relationships are altered, all of them, familial and otherwise. And we talk about parents, and thank you for asking, I brought back. I love my parents so much. Again, you have to understand, parents are human. You'll get to an age where you realize your parents are human and they make mistakes, and they've always made mistakes. But when you're growing up, you're taught to listen to them and they don't make any mistakes, and you listen to their advice, right? This was the time where I'm realizing, look, my parents are human, okay? If they're gonna see how much I make, who am I to assume they're not going to be curious or they're not going to maybe, ask or request things. But the thing is this, you're right, I witnessed my mom and dad struggle relentlessly to make sure my brother and I were able to have the best life we possibly could with the resources we never had, right? I watched my mom make, a bag of beans stretched for 2 weeks, and my brother and I thought it was just a fun thing, not knowing that was like to survive, right? So when they do that, and I know they went through that, who am I to not try to be there for my parents in any capacity that I can and give them grace, right? Doesn't mean give them all the bread you got, but the grace and empathy to try to be like, okay, how can I help in these circumstances and situations? And again, like for my mom, for her birthday, the best thing in the world brought tears to my eyes. I don't cry much, but this time I really did. It was her birthday. I was able to take her somewhere that she loved the most and to get her all this cookware. And I said, you get whatever you want. There is no limit. And her eyes got this big, and it warmed my heart that I could actually do that. And those are the things that give you that hope when there's a lot of people that are just asking, and they don't care about how you're doing. You'll tell them how you're doing. They're like, man, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I still need that bread for the thing I needed to do. They don't care. But you have to arrange that. I think Derek Jeter said this one thing that I appreciated the most. He said at some point, and he didn't know when this transition happened, every time someone would talk to him, his immediate thought is, what do they want? And at first, it really bothered him, but he realized he has to do that. It's sadly something he needs to do. And once you understand, like, it's something you got to do, it does make navigating things easier.
Sure, it turns into, with family, it turns into your conversation sometimes. It's like a boxer. You're like, okay, they hit me with the jab. Mm-hmm. I know the hook
you know it's coming. You're just trying to.
Yeah, they're asking me, how was my day? Do I want to have lunch?
How's your day?
I'm like, okay, jab, okay, that's it. Ooh, to the body. They invited me to dinner at their house next week. I know the hook is coming. Watch it. Then you be ready for the hook, and they hit you with that. You're like, the uppercut caught me.
Well, you always joke. You're like, let's just get to it. Let's just get to the thing. Like, just tell me what.
43 now. I've been working and making money. Well, I was like, okay, come on. I don't have. Let me give you the yes or the quick no. Yeah. And I don't want to
skip all the
drag.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, do you feel that way, same way in corporate America? Is it people talk and discuss?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. The same way.
Those lists are released as well.
Yeah, well, you can. If it's a public company, private companies you don't know, so they're just making it up or guessing. Yeah, I shouldn't say they're making it up. I'm being a little unfair to publications who do this. They're doing their best to guess, which is a bit frustrating times. It's like, what's the point? But the point is, there's an industry in it. There is an industry in people liking to look at what other people are worth or what other people make, A. And then on the other side, there is a whole industry in, it's a part of, rappers did it forever. Part of the brand was how much money I make, how much money I got, right? And now, the most funny people to me on social, and I don't want anyone to know, but I'm gonna say it, it's the people who make money telling other people how to make money. It's the craziest thing ever. It's like, bro, your whole job is standing on stage and selling people tickets to tell them how to make money, but you only make money because we bought tickets for you to tell us how to make money. You don't do anything.
Which is crazy.
I love watching these guys.
That's how they earn their keep.
I love watching. There's one guy, 10X guy. I watch him all.
Oh, he's so good.
Greg Cardone, I just watch it.
He shows like the first 10 seconds is a guy talking about how, why build one house, build 3 houses.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And then he cuts it off. He goes, why 3? Why not 50
Yeah,
houses.
no,
I had
that's
100 houses.
that guy is funny. He makes fun of these guys all the time.
This
That guy is serious.
Why don't you just go in 10x?
Tell you how to make money. But I never made money besides charging you guys to listen to me talk about how I made money. It's like, well, wait a minute. I'm honestly gonna go one day. Excuse me, but
I was thinking that
quickly,
too.
I just got one question, then I'm gonna get out of here and get out of your way. What did you ever build or do to make money besides charge us to come in here and listen to you? Just quickly, you know, you can. In your 90 seconds, what did you do? You answer that question, they're gonna throw me the fuck out,
You
right?
want to see true athleticism is seeing the acrobats they do to try to get out of that question.
Of course,
Like, well,
I'll
actually,
answer it directly.
Honestly, and quick side note, because I know for college is one thing, because you mentioned NIL, when it comes to that, when it comes to finances, have you noticed people reach out to you when you get more attention, you start getting to that area, they're like, oh, hey, like, do you see more favors being reached out, or is there somebody that protects you from that?
I've had, you know, a couple people that maybe like
New cousins?
didn't start. Yeah, like, you know, some people like that was there in the beginning of my life and then didn't come back until, you know, I started blowing up. But, you know, I don't really get too much. I keep my circle really small. So, like, what's in my circle, we stay in. And I keep my phone on D&D.
In the locker room, it's different in pro locker rooms, right? Because everyone knows it's public, whatnot. Collegiate locker rooms, not everyone's making NIL money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And obviously you as a leader, right, being a team leader and making sure you're bringing the team along with you, you ever have any concerns with that in terms of like the team element of it and knowing that you are in a little bit of a unique situation?
Yeah, we don't talk about money in the locker room. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about NIL, anything like that. We don't talk about how much we make with the fund. We have the thing called the fund where we go out and we all do the same event, but one girl might be getting paid more than another. But we never talk about money. We keep the money and stuff
They see the
aside.
Bentley in the players' parking lot, though. They see you.
Yeah,
They see you
no,
pull up.
we keep it on the side. We just don't want division because it's such a long season, you know. So it's like, how do we keep everybody, you know, tight knit and as a family, you know, and not worried about, you know, keeping the main thing, and that's so important for us.
So what's like the relationship with the word no? So when somebody call you, ask you for some money, just sign a contract, you say no. Is no followed by do you feel like you owe them an explanation why
like,
no, or is it just
like
flat out no?
it's hard early on in your career.
how old are you,
whatever.
Fred?
28. So like when you're first getting started out, she mentioned the circle, right? And you get in, you might have a certain size circle, but then when money comes into play, you quickly realize, oh, wait a minute, like my circle is actually a lot tighter than what I thought it might have been, right? You know, you realize pretty quickly, like, all right, who's in it for the right reasons and who's in it for, you know, probably ulterior motives. And, you know, I think you get good at saying no. You have to learn to get good at saying it. You know, it's a skill almost that you have to kind of acquire, right? Because I've always been a yes man of wanting to like a people pleaser, right? Like wanting to make sure, like, man, I want to make sure you're taken care of. I don't want to, you know, shoo anybody away, but then at the same time, it's like you only have so much to give of yourself, right? And so I think what's important is creating boundaries. And if you can do that early enough on in your career, it helps set up everything else later on because it's like, man, everybody already knows the deal when you've created those boundaries, right?
I'm a huge hip hop fan, like I'm sure you are, and Nas is one of my favorites. And on his, I think it was 2 albums or 3 albums ago, he had a line which I thought was one of the greatest lines I've ever heard in hip hop. He said, besides kids, boundaries are my greatest creations. I was like, oh, he's so right. And to your, he was saying that at like 48. Like it does take time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes time.
Nobody, I mean, I found rarely do people have ulterior motives. Usually they're like, I'm trying to get a come up, I have a dream, I really believe in this line of t-shirts, or like, this is it, this is the thing for me. And so you're talking to people with great amounts of passion who are coming to me like, can you co-sign it? Can you give me a little bit of this? Can you help with my dream? And from that perspective, you're like, I would love to help every single person there is. I don't feel like you're taking from me. But at a certain point, the bandwidth is just not there. Usually for me, I can be like, man, I got 3 kids, they're expensive, you know how it is. It's like, that's the real thing. They're like, they're not that expensive. I'm like, no, the little one, he's got a big appetite, eats a lot of food. I don't know. But it's how do you support somebody's dream? And sometimes, obviously, the ideas aren't great, but we've all had bad ideas. But like, how do you support somebody's dream and say, I respect your passion, I see your passion, I can be a part of it. Spiritually, I can support you, but financially, I'm not gonna be able to meet you where you need me to
For
meet
you, when you started doing what you're doing, did your family and people support it and see it, or were they like, oh, he's just making these videos, what the hell is it?
Absolutely not.
They didn't know what you were doing.
Well, the videos, I mean, again, like when you're doing them, because again, we're all in the race. You know, we're all like, you know, we're working the 9 to 5s, just trying to make it work. So when they see me doing it, they're like, okay, that's cool or whatever, and they just go back to what they're doing. They're not really paying attention to it much. And my friends, or the people I went to school with, rather, they, I mean, you know, they're gonna laugh at it, make fun of it, like, what is he doing? It's not one of those things, and you feel that, like even in the precipice of trying to get it off. Like you feel that. You feel the energy of people kind of like laughing at it.
I saw your
making
little
fun of it.
video. I saw your little video.
It's always a little video. Sorry, a little video. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I saw a little thing. It was one of those things. And then and at first, like they kind of like use it as like, again, like a butt of a joke, like, oh, look what Jordan's doing kind of thing. And then the minute it starts being like, people that they like and they respect start liking what I do, now all of a sudden it's like, you know, I knew him. I went to school with him. It was one of those things. And this is what really messed me up, is that when you get to a certain point, or maybe you achieve a certain level or goal or whatever, people who you clearly know, you remember, it's not like your memory fades, it's only a handful of years, people will reach out like, hey, I don't know if you still remember me, we went to school together, of course I remember you. But again, like they create a pedestal for you. You don't do, like they put you on. And then now all of a sudden, like they're treating you as such, and it's uncomfortable. Cause I'm like, it's still me, right? It's like, it's still me. I'm not, nothing has changed outside of the things I do, but that's really it. And you mentioned it perfectly. You try to create this tight circle, and then you followed up on that. You have to constantly restructure your circle. It's not like it stays that way. And it could be for the randomest, littlest things. It could be because of Forbes, it could be because of whatever. Then something happens, and now you gotta restructure it. Now it's gotta be, okay, who can I actually talk to and feel as though they're for me? But yeah, in that growth, I didn't start feeling or seeing support until overwhelming amounts of people outside of my circle just started supporting it.
Yeah, he's right. I think about that when you said it becomes very uncomfortable when you have family or friends who just immediately elevate you to whatever, that you can't be with them. It's like when, you know, like you have a family member come over and they'll say something like, you know, when I go to the grocery store and get regular grapes, like, they'll say shit like that. I think I eat some grapes, some space or something. You know, they'll say shit like, you know, regular groceries, yeah. At regular grocery stores, you get a buggy. It's like, what do you, bro? Like, and it's like uncomfortable. It's not even like, yo, bro, that's not even funny. That's not a Martian. That's not even funny.
Too, yeah. It's not even funny. Like, you're right. Like, they'll be like, oh, okay, so we got regular food over here. Yeah. What are you talking about?
You're like, you know what? I'm just not gonna come here anymore because I don't feel comfortable here.
Well, that's the only other thing.
Well, that's a scary space too, right? You and I have talked about this being like family reunion or vacation and stuff like that, and you're like, whether it's the pedestal or whatnot, and they also have a very outsized understanding of whether it's the money you make, your place in the business, but it becomes a thing where like, you almost don't feel at home being at home sometimes around some family, and that's like not a great feeling.
Yeah, they're not wrong. Again,
no, they're not.
Being empathetic, they're not wrong. It's just it's in this weird spot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said it perfectly. Perspectively speaking, because again, like that's part of growth. That's part of the balance. Honestly, that's part of a sacrifice. Is that you have to prospectively put yourself in their shoes. And just kind of understand, like, because if you were in that perspective and they were super famous, you couldn't even say that. You wouldn't just automatically be like, okay, well, they're too good for me now, and then you putting yourself in this room that no one put you in.
This is such a bougie conversation.
Well,
but it's also necessary.
I was gonna go the different direction on it. Of like, I can't fathom what this young lady deals with at her age. We're here, grown men. Some may even say old, in my case. I didn't have to deal with, I didn't have any money at that age. I didn't have any, so I can't even fathom, like, do you realize that it's very different what you're going through in real time? Are you just trying to focus on the hooping? Like, how do you deal with all of this we're talking about coming at you at your age?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely recognize that, you know, I've been blessed to where, you know, I'm able to deal with these, you know, problems and things like that. But I think for me, the biggest thing is like, you know, I try and let my parents kind of handle, you know, that stuff while still keeping in touch because I want to learn, I want to grow and stuff like that. And you can't trust everybody, you know, with your money, you know, because even sometimes family, you know, might be corrupt and, take advantage of you. But, I've been blessed with a great circle and stuff like that. So, I really trust my family to, take care of what needs to be. And, I want to be a blessing to, other people, and especially my family, for all the sacrifices that they've made. But I know that I've been put in, a big position, and it requires a lot. But again, the circle is so important.
But you obviously love it and passionate about playing basketball. Do you love all the other stuff that comes with it too? Do you love
absolutely.
it, like it, or you love it too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love people. I love the fans. It's different having like younger generation to be able to come up to you and be like, man, I look up to you. I want to be just like you. I admire your game. You're my idol. Like things like that. And to be able to connect with so many different people. That's something that I love doing.
So
I
cool.
love it. It is. It's a blessing. Absolutely.
It is a very uncomfortable thing because I visit family in India a lot, and it's a different world there financially. And to be like, oh, we're all just gonna sit down and watch your movie together because
while you're there,
of course,
That's
everyone. They're gonna invite
that's a tough
everybody
one,
from
man.
the
That's a
apartment
tough one.
complex to come through. None of them speak English, but we're gonna watch. And it's one of those things where it is deeply uncomfortable, but the only way I've found for myself to manage that, and it may sound very silly, is to like go do the dishes. Just like go take the trash out, like fold some clothes, do acts of service in the house or with family that are, I guess, simple. And in that way, hopefully I'm making my cousins and folks like feel comfortable, like, oh, okay, he is the fucking knucklehead that I used to beat up when we were little. He hasn't changed that much.
It's funny you say that because I hear that from a lot of hip hop artists and stuff. They say it's cringy when they go places like picnics or barbecues. As soon as they walk in, they throw their music on.
Yeah.
And they said like inside they kind of cringe when that happens a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is, anybody who
Depends who it is. Like if it was Ice Cube putting my music on, I'd be very happy.
But you also earned that though. You know what I'm saying? Like that thing that you're talking about with the rappers, I feel like you work so hard to achieve something. That part of it, I feel like, just kind of comes with it. Like, and you have to. It's kind of about how you see it. Like, how do you?
I think family is different. Like, I don't know about, like, for me, when I was younger, my parents would be like, hey, get your guitar. Everyone's here. Go, go, go. Hey, give him 3 words. He'll rap about them. Like, go, sit. Go. And you like, no, it's because they don't, my parents were very clear early on. They were like, we don't understand what you do.
they didn't get it around.
No, they're like from India. They came when they were 26, 27 to Baltimore, Maryland. They lived like right outside of Camden Yards before it was a stadium, literal ghetto. And they like built up the immigrant experience through education and science to like get us out of that space. And here I am, and I'm like, I want to make up some raps. I'm like, have you heard of Usher? Like, we don't get it. So my mother was like, I understood very early on they were human because they were up front with me, like, we don't get this. We see how people respond to you, we don't get it. But like, they wanted to celebrate it, right?
But do you feel pressure to take that Indian community, your family with you when you're performing and rapping at all?
I'm
feel any
honored to
pressure?
do it. There's so few of us who are at the level that we're at. I'm on a billboard. That was, like I said, 10 years ago, it was impossible. Myself, Dev Patel, Kunal Nair, Aziz Ansari, these guys, we'd all sit in a room and we'd look at each other like, man, this guy's gonna take my job. And none of us would get the job. It would go to an Italian guy. You know what I mean? Like, but now we're in a space where we can hopefully do what you're doing. We're like, I'm older than you because my generation, like being in this country, it took a little longer, but where we can sit down with young South Asian men and women and be like, this is sort of how we can support each other. My heroes were all black growing up, and the black community really brought me in.
Yeah, you grew up around all black people, right? Like in the black community?
I grew up like black and Jewish people. Yeah. And then like as we moved to the suburbs, it changes.
Of course.
And then once I got to NYU, it was basically like a free-for-all. But like once you get, my career was like, the first thing I got paid to do was assistant director play that Chadwick Boseman wrote. And everything was hip hop. It was like all hip hop. Then I did barbershop, that was hip hop. Mindy saw me rap on Pitch Perfect. That's how I got the Mindy Project. And it's only now on Ghost is like the first time my character is basically just like a guy who doesn't have anything to do with rap, where he just is a regular dude. And now it's fighting to be like, okay, he's a regular dude, but can he be Indian? Like, can I bring some culture in? Like, can we do anything? Can I talk about samosas? Like, base level. So it's, I think, super important. I feel honored and obligated to move my culture forward because there aren't many of us doing it.
Have you done stand-up before?
We were talking about this before. I did it a couple times and I realized I started in my late 20s and I had already had, my ego was not ready for that beating because I saw how difficult it would be. And there's this huge festival, I don't know how famous it is anymore, but it's called Just for Laughs in Montreal.
Yeah, of course, it's
and
still very big.
We would go there and perform, and I would go and do like my freestyle raps there. And I got to spend a lot of time with the best comedians in the world. And quite frankly, God bless you all, you're very sad people. And it was not an energy that I could be around, because I'm pretty positive, like there's a musicality to the way I want to live life, there's a lightness of being that I like to bring to rooms. And in a space of stand-ups, it's a dark space. And so it's kind of a mean-spirited room to be in.
We do have a question that the fans want to know. And you guys can, you guys.
Who's the biggest in the NFL? Tell me right now.
And we'll start here, but you guys feel free to jump in. What are some of the silent sacrifices that you've made that nobody really claps for, nobody ever claps for?
No ice cream?
Nah, I have plenty. You know, I truly, in my heart of hearts, feel, this goes back to that whole balance situation, right? I feel in my heart that I am a family man, but when you really are real with yourself and look at where you're dedicating your time and attention to, I can't sit here and call myself the best family man in the world, because I'm not dedicating my time, all my time and my attention to that. I selfishly chose to pursue this thing in the NFL and wanting to be the best at that. And so I'm a believer that you can't be the best at everything. Even if you want to tell yourself that you're the best this, you're the best that, at the end of the day, you're the best at whatever your attention goes to, right? And so I love my family. I love my mom, my wife, my son. And, you know, it does pain me when I really like look myself in the mirror and be like, you know, you are having to give that up. And at some point it'll change. You know, it'll switch over to being that family man. But right now it's just like there's something else that you got to take care of, right? And so that's kind of like the sacrifice I feel in my life that I kind of, you know what I'm saying.
That's good stuff. What about you?
Similar. I think it's time. You sacrifice time and relationships in many ways. Like the boys call up and they're like, we're going to a movie on Sunday. And I'm like, well, I'm not in town. When are you back? In 6 months. And you have to like learn how to cultivate these relationships from afar, and a lot of them fall off. There are very few people who can understand that lifestyle. But yeah, I think the biggest sacrifice, we talked about it, and I'll keep saying it. I got a 2-year-old baby girl, and I'm leaving in a few days, so it's on my mind, you know? And like a 5-year-old boy who, when I walk out of the house, the first question he asks is, are you coming back? That's wild
That's heavy.
to hear. And having to be like, I'm coming back, don't worry, man, I'm coming back. When are you leaving? In 3 months. He's 5, he doesn't know when 3 months is.
Yeah.
So we're just, I'm like, let's just get a snow cone. Like, you know, just fill in the space with what we can. So the biggest, that's it. You trade one dream. I never thought I'd be an absentee dad, right? Or like one of those traveling salesman type of dads. But in many respects, it's kind of like that. So that's been the trade-off.
Yeah, I agree. Time is a big sacrifice, especially me being younger, maybe not going out so much, maybe sacrificing my weekends and, you know, instead of going out maybe to the mall or like to parties, things like that, you know, just going and being in the gym, working on my craft. And especially now, you know, losing a lot of time with my family, you know, not seeing my nieces and nephews grow up because I'm away, then my sister will be away traveling, you know, with her husband, or like, you know, my mom and dad, you know, not being able to see them, you know, a lot of times. So I think just sacrificing that just to be great in order to be able to, you know, take care of them and provide for them.
Honestly, I would say with respect to those answers, all the really good answers too, is the effect it's had on the people I care about. people around me. I've noticed like in the beginning parts, I could still go out with people I love and I want in my life, and we can go and have a good time. And all of a sudden, when things got bigger, people would walk up to me and they would treat them as if they didn't exist. They're invisible to them, right? So because of that, I don't show my friends and family on my social media stuff. I don't want them to, so they can have some individualness until there's such a point that, you know, and if God willing, if we keep with success or what have you, if it gets to such a point where it's too late, then great. But until then, I want them to feel as though they're their own individual people. So because of that, I have to separate myself from it.
No, I give my friends like how to take photo tutorials. I'm like, listen, when you come up, this is what you got to do. We have all the different phones at home, so when the fans come up, they know which one to use.
Different phones is crazy.
That's the Samsung. You're gonna want to flip the aperture.